In a recent update in the ongoing trial related to FBG, involving members of the Oblock faction who are suspects in a particular individual's death, recent revelations have come to light for some of us, indicating that Trench's news, previously thought to be solely an informant, has been revealed as someone whom the Chicago police and FBI have labeled as a long-term government informant. According to these sources, he has reportedly been providing information for decades and received cash payments totaling up to $25,000 in 15 separate installments. It appears that at times, Trench's news would clandestinely share details with law enforcement while presenting contradictory information to his audience on his YouTube channel. Furthermore, it has been noted that Trench's would occasionally become unresponsive and cease communication with law enforcement, which could have contributed to the reason for his subpoena to testify in court. Authorities sought his testimony to ascertain the details he provided to the police concerning the FBG duck case. This information suggests that Trench's might have been privy to insights or evidence relevant to the case. Trench's news reportedly reached out to law enforcement the day after FBG Duck's tragic passing, offering information to assist in the case. His cooperation extended to identifying specific individuals captured in surveillance footage from the day of the incident in the Gold Coast area, where Duck was fatally shot. However, recent developments have brought to light yet another individual cooperating with the FBI since 2018. This revelation underscores a point previously mentioned. Mama Duck had forewarned that everybody's going to jail because they're all telling on each other. Unfortunately, her statement might have been disregarded at that time. Yet, the unfolding situation appears to validate her words, revealing informants emerging unexpectedly, including individuals seemingly unconnected to the case. This turn of events prompts reflection on how these individuals, who openly depicted a lifestyle of violence through their music, videos, and interviews, are now found cooperating with law enforcement. Despite depicting criminal activities in their lyrics, none of the individuals involved seem to face legal consequences. However, as the trial progresses, it's becoming evident that federal authorities allowed them to incriminate themselves gradually. The scope extends beyond the FBG Duck incident. It appears the authorities are using this case as a means to underscore a broader pattern. The RICO charges imposed on these individuals seem to stem not just from the Duck incident, but from a compilation of evidence. Consider the fact that Trench's news operated as a cooperator for multiple decades, which is a significant span of time equivalent to 10 years per decade. This detail sheds light on the depth of information and potential cooperation from other sources that law enforcement might possess. The trial, despite being underway, likely represents just a fraction of what authorities might be aware of. Before the trial commenced, there were concerns voiced in a prior video that going to trial against federal authorities wouldn't be advantageous. This skepticism stemmed from the formidable track record of the feds in securing convictions and the risks associated with facing them in a trial setting. An Oblock member has recently admitted to providing false information to the FBI in an attempt to evade testifying in the FBG Duck trial. This member, David Sloan, also known as Lil Dave, disclosed that he initially encountered FBI agents while detained at Cook County Jail in May 2018. During these interactions, agents inquired about the leadership and structure within Oblock. Lil Dave, in an effort to mislead the authorities, provided a list of names. This revelation suggests that the federal investigation into Oblock and its activities has been ongoing since at least 2018, if not earlier. Those familiar with the courtroom process understand that during trials, unforeseen evidence often emerges, catching defendants off guard. This unexpected evidence may include informant testimonies, surveillance records, and various other forms of incriminating proof. The warning here is that the federal authorities seem to possess a knack for presenting a plethora of evidence and information when trials commence, leaving defendants with little opportunity to retract or counter their claims. The recent revelation by Lil Dave underscores the depth and duration of the federal investigation into Oblock, shedding light on the persistent efforts to gather information and build a case against individuals associated with the faction. This revelation indicates that federal authorities have been actively monitoring Oblock and gathering intelligence for several years. Lil Dave further elaborated that approximately 2 months after the passing of FBG Duck, federal authorities approached him once more in October 2020, seeking additional information. Lil Dave, however, didn't agree to cooperate with the investigation until February 2021, a period during which he himself was incarcerated. Initially, cooperation seemed to progress positively, but after Dave's release from jail, he became unresponsive, suggesting that his cooperation might have been solely to secure his release from incarceration. This lack of communication prompted the federal authorities to sever ties with Dave, especially considering his parole violation related to a gun charge. However, in January 2022, the authorities revisited the cooperation deal with Lil Dave, this time offering him $2,515 for his involvement. As part of his role, Lil Dave admitted to receiving a substantial $5,000 cash payment for identifying defendants and providing surveillance footage from the Parkway Gardens apartment complex, also known as Oblock. Apart from identifying suspects, he disclosed to the authorities that Oblock operated with a hierarchical structure. The sequence of events reveals a back-and-forth engagement between Lil Dave and the federal authorities, with periods of cooperation followed by disruptions due to his parole violation and lapses in communication. The authorities attempted to re-engage him, highlighting the financial incentives provided in exchange for information that could potentially incriminate individuals associated with Oblock. This indicates that Oblock operated with an organizational structure similar to that of a mob, where there were structured meetings involving individuals described as killers and drug dealers. Lil Dave disclosed that during these gatherings, there were discussions about distributing guns, alleged drug dealings, and planning retaliatory shootings. It's crucial to note that he isn't the first individual cooperating with law enforcement to shed light on these supposed meetings conducted within Oblock. However, the intriguing aspect comes into play when the police visited Lil Dave's residence on October 13th. This visit was prompted because he had ceased communication with law enforcement after texting his handler about his brother's alleged death during a confrontation at a house party. Lil Dave claimed that members from Oblock were responsible for his brother's demise, stating, "My brother got killed. I'm in the hospital with my family." Subsequently, after this text on October 5th, his cooperation with authorities halted. However, investigators later discovered that Dave's brother had been killed in 2019 due to reasons entirely unrelated to what he had previously conveyed. Up until a day ago, Lil Dave admitted to fabricating information to the jury, confessing that he had lied about the circumstances surrounding his brother's death. Attorney Gregory Mitchell suggested during Lil Dave's cross-examination that fear of retaliation against him and his family for cooperating was not a valid excuse for fabricating information. Mitchell implied that Lil Dave was aware of the risks and circumstances before he chose to provide false testimony. This attempt aimed to challenge Lil Dave's reasoning for lying about his brother's death due to fear of retribution. During the cross-examination, transcripts were presented wherein Lil Dave had previously stated that Oblock had no structured leadership and denied the presence of anyone giving orders. However, later in his testimony, he admitted to the hierarchical structure within Oblock. When Assistant U.S. Attorney Jason Julian directly questioned him about the leadership structure, Lil Dave unequivocally affirmed its existence, responding with a simple yes. From these exchanges, it's apparent that federal prosecutors are diligently building a case, possibly targeting larger figures within the Oblock organization. The focus seems to be on gathering comprehensive data and details from smaller individuals like Lil Dave, commonly referred to as small fries, in pursuit of the bigger players within the organization. This strategy aligns with the typical approach of a RICO case, which aims to apprehend the key figures orchestrating criminal activities within a structured group or organization. The federal authorities are employing controversial tactics by offering substantial sums of money to individuals involved in these cases. These amounts are not trivial. We're talking about payments as high as $220,000 or more. The strategy seems clear, enticing these individuals with huge financial rewards, fully aware that some of these people are willing to go to extreme lengths for that kind of money, even potentially harming their own family members. This could be why we're seeing a surge in cooperators, as revealed by sources like Trenches and the recent disclosures from Lil Dave. According to these sources, the authorities are distributing cash incentives of up to $20,000 to individuals who provide valuable information. They are carefully framing their questions and arguments during the trials to emphasize and establish that Oblock operates under specific leadership, showcasing a structured hierarchy. Although names aren't explicitly mentioned, there seems to be an underlying implication regarding who might be leading Oblock. This indirect approach is furthering the investigation into identifying key figures. What's clear is that a lot is unraveling right now. We're witnessing the groundwork of a larger operation, and it's highly likely that more revelations and shocking discoveries will emerge as this unfolds.